Hello everyone, welcome back to my Swahili language learning diary series. This video will be summarizing weeks 9 to 12, so basically another 4 weeks of Swahili. And I'll start with the course. So you guys know that last week I finished the Teach Yourself course. No, the language transfer course. And now this month I've been doing the Teach Yourself course. And around 4 days ago I finished that as well. So I'll let you guys know. I'll right now tell you guys how I've been going through that. I in my lessons, I read the dialogues and I listened to them at the same time, and I kind of went through them, moving all the words, etc. And then I'd read the grammar points. So for the first 2 or 3 dialogues, I tried to read the entire grammar explanation. I didn't do the exercises at all, they were way too long-winded, but I tried to read the entire grammar explanation, which was taking so long, and especially those first few dialogues, the grammar points were like ones that I already knew. So then I moved to a different system where I did the dialogues normally, read, listened to them, and then when I went back to the grammar points, at the end of every single chapter, every single dialogue, they have 10 grammar points, which are very, very short. And I know I'm pretty much trying to make it Asimil, but if those 10 points were directly linked to the dialogue, and all those 4 or 5 pages of grammar explanation was just cut out, that would have been fine for me. But anyway, so I just read those 10, and if I understood them, I'd leave them. I'd be fine. If I didn't understand them, I kind of left it as well. That was the first round. And then the second round, I read and listened to it again. This was after like passive listening to it a lot. And then when I went back to those 10 grammar points, what I did was I did a table, as you guys can see here. So I'm going to try to explain what this is. So each one of the dialogues, yeah, and then did I read and listen to it? This is the second round. Did I read the 10 points and did I understand the 10 points? So as you can see, some of them, I didn't understand them. And then here I have 2 sections. So points I didn't understand at all, whether the grammatical explanations were too difficult or I understood it, like I understood what they were saying, but I didn't get the grammar point. I put them here. So as you can see, they're not many, but they're ones that I'd like to go over again. And then points I'd like to revise are here. So these are points that I've understood, but I think it'd be beneficial for me to revise. And the purpose of doing this is not so that I can memorize these points or even go through them. In fact, I'm not going to look at this for a few months. I want to go through this again after months and months of immersion, like maybe 3, 4, 5 months of immersion, and then just go back here, look through these points, maybe even more actually, go through these points and just almost as like as a progress marker to see how much I can understand now, and I'll just cross them off, the ones that I understand, etc. So that was the course. In terms of Teach Yourself, the dialogue got harder, of course. That's the idea, that it's progressive. So like they use more difficult grammar points and that. But generally, Teach Yourself was pretty good. I mean, the dialogues were clear. I have lots to say about what I don't like about Teach Yourself, to be honest with you, which is probably a time for like another video to do, like possibly a review of Teach Yourself. Problems I have with the audio, the way, you've probably already seen, like the grammar points, I'd much rather for them to be like much more directly linked to the dialogue and much shorter. But yeah, overall, I think it was good. I think it helped me revise everything that I did with language transfer. And now I genuinely do feel like I have a very strong base that I don't need any more courses. Basically, I just want to go full immersion. Okay, so moving on to the content I've been using. I've continued with Kiswahili Kwa Komputa. I don't know where I was at the end of like last week's video. I think I had just started it and finished 1 unit or something like that. That's what I have written down anyway. But now I'm like in year 2. Unit 10, so I think I only have 2 more units, unit 11 and unit 12, to finish that year. And in general, yeah, they're very, very good. I really like the Kiswahili Kwa Komputa. I feel like whenever I passively listen to them, I understand them much better than the Teach Yourself dialogues. And I just feel like my comprehension with them is really good. I feel like they're exactly at my level. So like, I don't know, I think in every single every single video that I use, it's like 35% of words I don't know, which I think is pretty good. Maybe 40%, some of them 25%, but I'd say the average is like 35%, which is really good. And it's really nice. It's really nice to like see myself like understanding more and more, and like whole sentences right now. Like when I read some full sentences in that dialogue, I don't even need to check. So it's nice to see that progress, because obviously at the start, like if you gave me one of these videos, I'd be pretty lost, or at least 80% of the words won't be there. So it's really nice to see the progress. And yeah, I think it's really good content. So yeah, I've been really enjoying it. It's really nice because the videos have a lot of like cultural aspects to it. I mean, they're talking about Kenya and Tanzania, and they have videos about like the dances they have, how the education system's like, how people use transport around there. It is very obviously made for students though, because they speak at a very slow speed. Not very slow, but like not natural, let's say. And obviously the choice of words, and it's written. It's not like spontaneous speech. It's written. So, but it's really good for my level right now, and I'm really enjoying it. So yep, just finished year one, and I'm in this of year. I've just finished this, so I've got this much left, and I've placed them all. I already made the year three entire document, just because I do predict that I'll be going through these pretty intensely now. That's all I'm doing. In terms of the passive listening, I've been really, in these 4 weeks I've been really focusing on the teach yourself dialogue, because I want to, obviously, first round, second round, and I don't really want to go back to teach yourself too much. Maybe later on or something. I doubt it though. And so I really wanted to just kind of finish it properly. So I was really like hammering in the teach yourself dialogues. Because there's 18 dialogues. I would say the first 12, 11, maybe 10 I've like know really well, and the other 8 or 10 I can recognize very well. I know what the story's like, but word for word, there's some specific vocab there that I probably don't know. But I think it's a good place to leave it. But in terms of passive listening, I've been really focusing on teach yourself. I'd say 80% has been the teach yourself dialogues, which is quite a lot. The other passive listening has been some songs. I found some like really nice songs. I'll probably use them later on, so you probably know what they are. And another thing has been the Kiswahili Kwa Komputa ones. But something that I've done with Kiswahili Kwa Komputa, because I told you guys before that I can't download the audio and use it like normally on my phone. It's really difficult. So what I did was I basically did one recording of the entire year's audio, which took some time and some patience. So now I've got year one and year two, the entire audio files, and I've placed them in the audio for the first lesson. For those who are learning with me or learn in the future or whatever, they're in the first lesson. I've had like the entire recording, and that's really good for passive listening, because I just play it. I have it on my phone. It's super easy. I don't need to keep clicking, and that's been really good. So I haven't been listening to that too much over the past 4 weeks, but now I've got that prepared to move forward. So yeah, passive listening. With passive listening, it's like the Kiswahili Kwa Komputa ones. I understand it. Like I can follow it along. I can definitely follow it along. With the teach yourself, as I said, not really, but not all of them. I'd say, you know, like I said, the first 10 of the teach yourself, when I passive listen to it, I can understand. But the Kiswahili Kwa Komputa, definitely definitely when I listen to it passively, I can follow along I can follow the dialogue along, or the whatever it is, whatever they're talking about. And for those who are interested, the 1 to 5 minutes that I do every day of Duolingo, here it is. I'm almost finished too. And yeah, I mean the whole Duolingo tree is like 5, so I think I might actually end up finishing it. But obviously, like it's cool. Like I said, like you'll see in the in-study clips, it's nice to review these structures, you know, especially at the start. But like, I don't know, the more I read and listen like to Kiswahili Komputa and like use the content, the less I feel like I'll actually need Duolingo, you know. And really beyond this point, Duolingo is not necessarily like useful, but I think I'll use it nonetheless. I don't know, actually. I'll keep you guys updated. Also, I'd like to talk about output. Right now, obviously, there's no real output going on. But I just wanted to like make you guys aware that this is one of the sections that I'd like to speak about in these diary videos. But like, I think twice in this entire month, I've tried to actually say something, just for fun, just to see if like I could construct something, and it was okay. But like I couldn't say much really. It was just really just for fun. But yeah, obviously, I'm not even thinking about output at this time. My whole focus is understanding more and getting more familiar with the language. So yeah. Okay, now I'm just going to talk about how I feel in general. I would say that I feel good. I feel like after having done phase 1 and phase 2, language transfer and teach yourself, like now I feel like I'm in the language, you know, like I've heard it quite a few times. I've had quite a lot of exposure to it. Comprehensive exposure as well. Like obviously I've been repeating the beginner content and such. And it's slowly starting to become less and less alien and more familiar. The sounds, the rhythms, the way that things are constructed, you know. And I, you know, like it slowly feels like my mind's changing to adapt to the way it's said in that language. An example of this would be like the people who use cars, for example. That construction, ambayo, is one that is slightly, I mean, it's not that it's, that one's always a bit difficult, I think. I found the difficulty same with Spanish, that like, los quien quieren, or los que tienen, those who have, like that was always a bit, and it's the same thing here, but I feel like the more I listen to it, the more the more I stop analyzing it, and the more it's just become comprehensive, if that makes sense. It's like at the start, every time I saw it, I was like, okay, they put this there because that, and it's referring to this. But then the more I hear it, the less active it becomes, and the more kind of just like I just understand I understand it, like it's who, you know. And so I think that's what this point symbolizes. It symbolizes me stopping, like having like a phase where I stop analyzing the language so vigorously and slowly start to just understand, and just for it to just be more and more comprehensive. I hope that makes sense. I feel like the patterns are being reinforced more and more, and therefore I require less and less active study of it, if that makes sense, like within the content. But yeah, also I'd like to go through the time. So I think at the end, so I've been taking notes of it, but it's not 100% accurate as of yet. It's 95% accurate. Some things I missed, but I'd like to tell you guys about the time that I'm spending. So at the end of last month's video, my active time was 53 hours, and my passive time was 45 hours and 35 minutes. This month, I've added on from active hours 23 hours and 22 minutes, and my passive has been an addition of 11 hours and 5 minutes. That brings it to a total so far in 12 weeks of 76 hours and 22 minutes, and passive of 56 hours and 40 minutes, which I think is pretty good, given the other things that I'm doing. And yeah, I mean this is more than I had with Spanish, definitely, because I started Spanish when I wasn't in a summer holiday. So, the first 2 weeks were, but like the rest really weren't. And so that's the time. Another thing I wanted to make a comment of was the money. So far I've only bought the Teach Yourself course, which was £3.99 on Amazon. I bought the Kindle one because it was like £20 cheaper. So, and I think it's more effective to have it online anyway. So that's the time, that's the money, and then I think that's it for the general. Yeah, I think that's it. I forgot to add like my schedule, how I actually split the time. So basically 4 days ago I stopped Teach Yourself because I finished it. When I was doing Teach Yourself, it was 2 half-an-hour sessions of active study, and so the first 1 to 3 minutes, was like Duolingo, 1 to 5 minutes Duolingo, and then the rest 20 to 25 minutes was the Teach Yourself. That's the first session. Then the second session was the 1 to 3, 4, and 5 minutes Duolingo, and then the 20 to 25 minutes was the content. So it was Kiswahili Kwa Komputa. I think like the last week I might have done them both Teach Yourself alongside Duolingo, but just to finish Teach Yourself as fast as possible. But yeah, that's basically it. So 2 half-an-hour active study sessions, and then whenever I get a chance, passive listening. I don't tend to like organize my passive listening. It tends to just be like, if I'm doing an activity that I don't need to focus too much on, I listen. And yeah, that tends to be enough, like around, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour and a half a day. Sometimes nothing, and sometimes like 2 hours of passive listening, depending on what I'm doing, you know, outside. But that doesn't tend to be like organized. The active time is the only thing that I organize. Everything else, the passive just tends to come and go, basically. But I do record everything, and now hopefully I'll be doing it more meticulously. Okay guys, so this new section that I'm adding to my the diary videos is basically me watching some sort of real native content. This week I want to watch a cartoon. We'll see how it goes, but in general I think I'll probably start to look at YouTubers, possibly like news, radio, that kind of thing, and show you guys how I feel. But I just thought it'd be cool if I do a children's show for the first one, so it's not like ridiculously difficult for me. But the idea of this is not to like I mean, the whole idea of it is just to show my progress and to slowly see how I understand more and more, because like it's an important part of your comprehension, right? And we always, I think, mark our progress by how well we can speak. But I think comprehension is obviously just as important. Um, so, and obviously it's the thing that I'm focusing the most on right now. So I'll just be watching a little bit of this video, obviously not all of it, and just pausing every now and then and telling you guys what I pick up, what I can understand, and what I can't. So let's go through it.
Jamani. Hii ni sehemu ya kipindi wetu.
Get it started. Hopefully you can hear okay then. Rangi means color and blue means blue.
Kibena, mimi natoka narudi jioni.
Mimi natoka narudi jioni. Mimi natoka. I came to return. Jioni. Feels like I should know what that word is. I came to return. Nitoka means kutoka, so I came from. So I came to return, I think.
Usitoke humu ndani maana sipo na nimemwambia mzee Kigo yeye anakuja kukuangalia, sawa
I didn't get any of that.
Mzee Kigo? Bibi mimi mkubwa bwana.
Mzee means old like person, an elderly. What did they say?
Kuangalia, sawa
Kuangalia means to see.
Mzee Kigo? Bibi mimi mkubwa bwana, naweza kujiangalia mwenyewe.
Okay, I understood kuangalia again, to see. Someone's big, mkubwa. Mwenyewe means to themselves. So let's say that again.
Mzee Kigo? Bibi mimi mkubwa bwana.
Bibi ni mkubwa. So bibi, which means grandma. Grandma is big.
Na naweza kujiangalia mwenyewe.
Nanaeza. She's able to see by herself. Grandma's big, she's able to see by herself.
Wewe bado mtoto
I'm going to start going a bit slower.
Bibi mimi mkubwa bwana, naweza kujiangalia mwenyewe.
Wewe bado mtoto Kibena, kuwa mtoto mzuri, usimsumbue mzee wa watu, sawa
Okay, let's just
Bibi, si unajua mimi mtoto mzuri, siwezi.
Wait, what? I feel like I do understand it, but it's just really fast.
Sumbue mzee wa watu, sawa
Sawa means like okay,
Bibi, si unajua mimi mtoto mzuri,
Mtoto mzuri, a good child.
siwezi kumsumbua mzee Kigo.
Nope.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The numbers, I can do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, by the way.
Aya, da. Hey, nani kama garangi?
Something to do with rangi, which means color.
Bahati mbaya.
Bahati mbaya, bad luck.
Kibena, utakoma.
Utakoma. You will koma.
Umemwaga rangi ya bibi.
Bibi means grandma.
Kibena, utakoma. Umemwaga rangi ya bibi.
Umemwa. Ume means you have. I think uta, like you will something. Like the general idea is probably like you're going to get it now. Grandma, because he said bibi. Grandma's going to get you or something like that.
Koba unafanya utani mwenzenu nipo kwenye matatizo.
What?
Umemwaga rangi ya bibi.
Koba unafanya utani mwenzenu nipo kwenye matatizo hapa. Tena bora umekuja utanisaidia.
Wait, what?
Unafanya utani mwenzenu nipo kwenye matatizo hapa. Tena bora umekuja utanisaidia.
Tanisaidia. I feel like the general meaning is for you to help me.
Nifanye nini na hii rangi
Nifanya nini? What should I do?
ilomwagika? Bibi itakasirika kiona imemwagika. Mimi naona hata jana. Ndio tukacheza mpira uwanja.
Okay, I think I'm going to stop it then. 2 minutes in. I think this is not even working. Yeah, so I can say like 5 to 10% possibly. I think if they spoke slower, I might actually like get more without having to repeat it. And I don't like putting the speed slower because they just speak weird. But yeah, that's basically the level right now. We'll see next time. I don't know if you guys would like these to be longer or shorter. I wanted to make it like as a trial, make it like nice and short. And I'd be looking forward to see your comments about how you think about it. So yeah. Because we're working with machungwa, which is the plural for oranges, and the ma shows that it's from the ma-ji group. You can see that when we describe it as madogo. Dogo means small, and then madogo. Thing is that now I've started to read it by myself before I listen to it, and then I listen to it while I read it at the same time, because I feel like when I listen to it, then I can kind of follow it along, and I don't have to pause it as often, and I just feel like it's more effective. But I just wanted to analyze this right here because it's quite a long word. The fundish kind of in the middle, means to teach. When you put wa at the end, fundish wa, it means to be taught, and then je at the end means how. So how is it taught? And ya is referring to madrasa, which means lessons, because it's the ma group. So we refer to ma plural with ya, and na is present. By the way, I'm not trying to teach you guys. I'm just trying to show you like how I'm noting what I've learnt in the content that I'm using. So right now I'm in dialogue 5, so unit 5, and there's just one. So the majority of the patterns I'm recognizing, I'm just absorbing loads of words. Um, but here, tu means us, na means present, so we have. Um, so tuna means we have. But zo is referring to a batiki, which I think is a other fabric, which would be referred to as z. So I don't know why at the end it's referred to as zo. Because just later on, when they're trying to say it's located, it says zipo. So it actually is referring to it as z. So I'm not sure. So that's one pattern that I don't understand. I'm seeing two uses for the one of the grammar points from the course that I knew that was going to be a bit difficult. For example, here he said that his friend went to the maktaba, which is the library, asome, so that he can read. So asome usually would be like so he reads maybe anasoma, but this is the one where you take the time thing away, so it's just asoma, and then you take the a and you replace it with an e, so asome. So I'm always noticing it to see. So this is in the structure of it, so that he can do this, or so that she can do this. And right below it's afadhali asome, which means he better, or you better. Oh no, I think it's afadhali is by its, yeah, I think it's he or she. So he or she better read something. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around when it would use it, but I guess just more listening and reading, and hopefully I'll get there. This word here, anaendelea, means he or she is continuing. I remember in Duolingo I learned this word that was called maendeleo, which means progress, and so obviously it's similar meaning. And so I just noticed that there. I noticed that when the verb is turned into like a noun, the a at the end turns into an o, so it's maendeleo. It's something I remember from the language transfer course, where he said this version of hu being at the start means like usually, and I already know ondoka, kuondoka means to leave, and so it means usually leaves, or and I think it's for plural, for singular, because I've never seen it specify, so I'm guessing it's just hu ondoka, and there's no time, so it's not like huta, it or she or he will leave. It's just hu ondoka. So I remember that this is one of the patterns where I remember it, but I don't know it word for word. I couldn't repeat the rule, and so just through noticing where it's used, I'm gonna start cleaning my idea of it up. No time sound, maybe plural, singular, and all of them together, etc. The ku in the middle here represents you, like when you're speaking to someone in front of you. But I completely forgot that that's how you refer to people, because when you say like you're doing something like unataka, you want, you use just u. But I forgot the way you refer to it if you're talking about someone or to someone is cool. But I've seen it about 6-7 times now, so that's just been reinforced. Something I noticed here that I completely forgot I even learned was this use of ambao, which is like who. So we who visited. But because we're talking about undugu, which is a relative, I think we should be mentioning I here. It should be tu me I tembelea ndugu. I think we should mention it twice. Once in the ambao and once in the ndugu. Once in the here. But that's what I remember. But we'll see. What I noticed doing Duolingo is that I can't differentiate between gani and nini. They both mean what, or maybe gani means which. And I'm not completely sure, but that's something I'm going to keep my eye out to kind of be able to separate them. I thought it might be interesting for me to show you just a little snippet of how I go through these. So before, I already noted that I changed my method from listening to it first and then reading it while listening to it and then listening to it again. I tend to read it first now, so I understand the general idea, listen to it while going through it, pausing it if I need to, and then listening to it one last time. And then obviously passive listening, I'm listening to it all the time, alongside the teacher self stuff and whatever. But I tend to read it out loud actually, because number one, I enjoy it very much. And it helps me with the pronunciation a little bit, because then I can correct it when I hear it again. So I'll just continue where I was. I was here. Kuna walimu kumi na mbili, 12. So there's 12 teachers. Kila darasa walimu wawili. Why is there 2 wawilis? In pairs. Aha. Okay, that's interesting. I'll add that there. Wawili in pairs. And of course Swahili likes to double things up to add some meanings. Like pole means slowly, for example. Asubuhi kuna madarasa mawili. So ma here corresponds with madarasa, the noun class. So it's the G ma noun class. So darasa, which is singular here, would be darasa wili, I would assume. I think. Yeah. Yeah. Asubuhi kuna madarasa mawili ya wanafunzi wa mwaka wa pili na mwaka wa tatu. So in the morning there's classes for second years and mwaka wa pili, the year of two, so like second year, and mwaka wa tatu, three, so third years as well. Yani, that is... Ooh, I don't really know what's going on here. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on here. Yani, that is so I'm not sure about that. Possibly it's a word by itself. I'm trying to analyze it, but there might not be anything to analyze. But that's generally how it goes, and then when I listen to it, I already know what's going on, and I feel like I can follow it along much, much easier. That I think I'll always find really difficult with Swahili is the times, because here we start work at 7:30, but the right answer I'm sure is sisi tunaanza kazi saa moja. Moja means one, na nusu means one and a half, so half one, and that's 7:30. And I think you need to either minus. So in this case, you need to minus 6 because it's something to do with the sunrise, like that's how they calculate it. So that's going to take me a long time to get my head around, but I'll just keep looking out for it and trying to see if I can get it. I have these two words that I said that were confusing me at the same place. I have wengine, which means others, and wengi, which means many. So I'm going to try to notice that a bit more. Wengine means others, and wengi means many. To comment on how I find Duolingo quite useful at this stage where I'm still analysing the language quite a lot, because for example this lesson is all about past tense, and it's quite not a difficult one, but it's not the first thing you learn, let's say. It's this kind of use of have not, we have not, I have not, that kind of usage, and it's really nice to see it being used again and again for the negative past, because it differs from the present. Like I haven't would be past, and then I would have. Notice that I don't remember learning in the courses at all is this word zenye, E-N-Y-E, and then the noun class at the start, meaning containing, and I've seen it quite a few times with different noun classes in the start, so it's a new one that I've just noticed just by reading and listening. I just wanted to note two things that I've been noticing. First of all, me doing these videos have actually helped me a lot, because I say out loud the things that I'm noting, all the patterns that I'm noticing. I say them out loud, and that helps me a lot actually. That helps me a lot because I'm just much more conscious about what I'm noticing and not. Another thing that I wanted to note was the fact that in Kiswahili Kwa Komputa, these videos, obviously I can't download the audio, so I have to voice record them. So I'm not listening to these videos as much as I'm listening to teacher self-dialogues. I've been listening to those a lot. I've been also listening to Lingo Boost a little bit, just a little bit, some of the more recent recordings, like lessons 35, 30 to 50, those ones. And I'm noticing how I'm understanding more and more, even with the teacher self-dialogues. So I do feel like I'm slowly improving. I'm slowly understanding more, reinforcing the grammar points and all of that. I just wanted to give you an update on how I'm using the Teach Yourself course again. So right at the end they have these 10 things to remember points. So after I do the dialogue, normally I read through those 10 points, and if there's one point that I really want to delve into, I want to go back to the place and try to find it in the explanations and just to read it again. I haven't done it yet, but I have been reading these last 10 points, and it's nice just to refresh the information. But I'll see if I ever have to go back, because obviously the grammar points get, you can say, more and more difficult. Obviously it's supposed to be progressive, so possibly I'll want to more and more go back and check. From what I remember, this ye in the middle should be accompanied with an because this is like who does. So ana ye fani, that's what I remember from the course, but it doesn't have it here, because this is the construction without putting ambayo before, which would also be like who does this, so the person who does this. If you don't use ambayo, you put ye in the middle. But you also have to mention the person twice, so you have to put as well. So I'm still that's something that's confusing. That's something that's confusing right now. I just wanted to show you a note of how I sometimes do say phrases. For example, this is Nina Hakika. When I saw this, the first thought I had was Nina means I have, and then Hakika, I don't know, truth possibly, from the Arabic haqiqa. So I have truth. Obviously that doesn't make sense, so I checked it and it's I'm sure. So it's usually when the literal meaning doesn't make sense, and that's where I add it. Something interesting to note, this word, tangazo, I knew it before I went into this because I recently changed my phone into Swahili, just kind of for fun, just to see if I could understand anything. And I remember I was watching a YouTube video and it said skip the ad. I still can't remember the word for skip. I think I'd be able to recognize it, but I remember tangazo was the word for advertisement. So I learned that ki, when it's used here, means if, but I'm starting to realize a lot more that it's either if or when, and in different situations it can be really, it can be used as either. This is confusing me quite a lot. I don't know why two is us, and then ka. So I don't know why ka's there, because this is we looked, so it should be tu, li, angalia. And so this is something I'm going to look at the grammar points for in the teach yourself, to then go back to it and see what's going on. Right here in number 8 of the grammar points, it was mentioned that it's basically when you're consecutive actions. So if you want to talk about one or more actions, every single time you mention another action, you have to put the ka there instead of the time tense. So yeah, it makes much more sense now. It's explaining how basically sh, z, or y can be used in the verb to make it like causative. So for example, like get well, to cause to get well would be to cure, so you put yeah. I'm not going to memorize why it's sh, why it's or why it's yeah. I'm just going to know that these sounds make the causative, and I'm just going to look out for that just so I can understand what I'm reading, rather than trying to pick out like, oh, the vowel before it was this, so it must be X, you know what I mean? Did this video, and I just wanted to note like how wonderful it feels to be actually able to like listen to it, like read it first out loud and then listen to it, and the second time you listen to it to actually be able to understand, like this one specifically, I was able to understand I think like 90 to 95% of it, which feels really, really good, like to actually follow along the conversation. And it's really interesting, I think, with this input kind of way of doing things. It's like you sometimes like you for me anyway, like I don't spend that much time like stopping and seeing, oh, look what I can do. I do that pretty rarely, and so it's cool to kind of just sit back and be like, damn, like this used to be such noise at the start, and now it's like I can actually follow it along. I remember weka being in my phone, like whenever I got a message it would be like mark as read would be weka. So like I think weka means like to mark, or here it says to set. So that's cool, like how the fact that it's in my phone now, I'm being able to link some words up. Show you this now, me going through the 10 things to remember for dialogue 17, because I think it represents perfectly kind of where I am. These three, the first three, I've kind of understood, even though I haven't like been taught it before in language transfer. I've understood them because they're pretty easy. Like through context I've seen them, or even if I haven't, now it'll help me notice them better. Number 5, I have no idea what's going on. Maybe I'll come back to it later. This one I got through context, so I understood it. This one I got through context as well, so from this one, ingine, like others and how it changes. Oh sorry, this one I got, but this one I think I don't know what's going on either. And this one I don't understand either. I understand it like in context. I know it's Nina, I have, and Joe refers to them, so I have them, but I can't remember this, so I don't know how to construct it. Yeah, I guess I'll come back to it later. And this one I know because it was a big part of the language transfer course. Like the books that have been bought by Pendo, that have been, I know. So just to give you a general idea of how I'm going through this. Also, I'm not worrying about the ones that I don't understand. I'll just listen to it and read it again, and then hopefully I'll come back to it and hopefully it'll make sense. What else you guys might find interesting of the way I read these is that like when I start reading a grammar point, I straight away go to the example and I read the example. If I understand it, I don't even bother reading the grammar point, or I might go back to I might read it, but like if I understand the example, I just move along. Like for example, this one was like Nita kuandikia. I already understood, like I will write to you, and so I didn't care. Basically, I just moved on. Here's an example of one that I didn't understand at all. Relative clauses can often be translated by an adjective or adjectival phrases in English. For example, the tenseless relative. Yeah, way too much grammatical terminology, and I have no idea what they're talking about. And when I look at the example, actually, I don't actually understand this. I've seen this quite a lot, actually. This word, like after bida, zitokazo, I can't break that down. I don't remember how to. So this one, and I think the next one as well, I'm just going to put them in don't understand and come back to it in a few months and see if I know what's going on. I don't think I'll ever understand what their explanation is, but at the very least I can look at this example and be like, oh yeah, this is referring to X, Y, and Z. And that was the final dialogue of Teach Yourself, so now I've finished this paper, which you've probably already seen. So my plans for the next period of time, however many weeks I choose to do it, will probably be for the course. There's no courses right now. Usually for Spanish, I did Glossica after. I don't think I'm going to do Glossica now. I mean, maybe later on, but I doubt it. I don't think I'll need it. But we'll see, we'll see. With Swahili, there's not as many resources as there were for Spanish, so maybe. In terms of content, so my plan is to go through Kiswahili Kwa Komputa, finish that because I really like it. Maybe, actually, no, I don't think so. So doing Kiswahili Kwa Komputa, I've got some children's stories on YouTube. There's 8 of them, and I'll show you guys when I do that. But they have subtitles as well. And then there's some Canadian stories done by a Canadian company, I'm guessing, of Swahili. There's 40 of those. So I'll be going back to doing those because that was the first content I used. I first used the first 5 and then I moved on to Lingua Boost. But yeah, I'll be going back to that. And then I think after I do all of that beginner level material, I might read and listen through it all again. Maybe. Or maybe I just move on. With Swahili, I kind of just want to make the most out of the content I have. But at the same time, I don't want to overdo it and just keep revising where I know I could move on. Because with Spanish, there was never that worry. There was always like, there's too much content, you need to kind of choose the ones that, that you like and that suit the level and stuff. With Swahili, I don't know. I'll let you guys know. In terms of passive listening, I'll just be listening to exactly what I'm studying. So Kiswahili Computer, those dialogues are always going to be in my ears. When I do the mini stories, that YouTube playlist will be in my ears. When I do the Canadian ones, I'll download them all on my phone, or I'll just record it like I did with Kiswahili Kwa Komputa, and then that'll be in my ears. I'm still doing, my passive listening is still passive listening based on what I'm studying. I'm not doing any passive listening that's separate from it yet. That's maybe a bit more down the line. And I'll probably continue with Duolingo. I'm not sure. I really don't know. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys like the new structure, because yeah, I wanted to like restructure it and make it so that these diaries kind of show every part of the journey kind of well. Let me know if you have any suggestions for the structure or like anything you want me to show. I think I've shown everything, but yeah. Also like the comprehension section. Let me know if you guys like that. I just thought that would be pretty cool. Because we're always talking about like measuring progress by your speaking, but I don't. But I just think it'd be cool if like I would like it to see someone else watching a video and seeing how much they can understand at different phases. Like that's equally as like relevant in terms of the progress, in my opinion. So yeah. See you guys next couple of weeks. Peace.